The payoff. Strike 3 called, 1 down.
He pitched me real great tonight, and hey, what I can do is just say, take my half 2 innings. I'll see you next time. What happened is that I have a bad day. I get in tomorrow.
For Sammy Sosa, yesterday was a happy day that began with a call from President Clinton. But 4 strikeouts later, it ended with an 0-for-4 night and a 4-3 Cubs loss, thanks to long homers from slugger Greg Vaughn, his 49th, and Ken Caminiti, who hit the deciding blow off the Cubs' pen in the 8th, giving the Padres their 95th win of the year. Tonight, it's 2 pitchers looking for their 19th win, Kevin Tampany and Cy Young candidate Kevin Brown. Now, red-hot matchup from the Q comes next. Before we've hit a baseball, it's already been a monumental night here in San Diego as the Cubs and Padres get set for Game 2 of this 4-game series from Qualcomm Stadium here in beautiful sunny Southern California. Hi again, Chip Carey along with Steve Stone. Momentous for a couple of reasons. Mark McGwire has hit number 63, and the Cubs got some wild card help from the Houston Astros.
The New York Mets lost the first game of the doubleheader. They're leading in the second game. So if the Cubs win tonight, there is ground to be gained. And if they win tonight, Kevin Tampany is going to have a very good night against Kevin Brown.
And I like it when you say there is ground to be gained. Kevin Tampany, 18 wins, highest since Greg Maddux won 20 in 1992. But it's going to be very tough for him because Kevin Brown is having a Cy Young caliber season for San Diego. He has been their workhorse all year long.
There's a good chance that Kevin Brown will win the Cy Young Award if he has 2 quality starts. As you see right there, he's thrown very well against the Cubs, but Sammy Sosa has a couple of home runs against him. And Sammy now 1 back of Big Mac, looking for a little history tonight in San Diego.
Well, those guys have played leapfrog all season long. Hopefully, Sammy can pop 1 or 2 here tonight. Take that lead right back from Big Mark McGwire of the St. Louis Cardinals. It's the Cubs and the Padres, Game 2 from Qualcomm. And yes, there is ground to be gained. And we'll have starting lineup some more right after this.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by
Kevin Brown into his windup. Lance Johnson with a swing and a miss. And we're underway in San Diego. A beautiful night for baseball. Not as big a crowd here tonight as we saw last evening when 60,000 fans packed mighty Qualcomm Stadium. Lance Johnson fouls it back 0-2. And a tough assignment today. We're getting a look at one of the best right-handers in all of baseball, Kevin Brown, with a sparkling 18-6 record, a .236 earned run average, and he has been masterful against the Cubs over the course of his great major league career. 0-2 to Johnson, and Brown misses outside, 1-2.
Kevin Brown has fanned 238 men in 236 innings. He's walked only 48. He's given up only 7 home runs. He throws a lot of ground balls.
Boy, you talk about a bulldog, a workhorse. He's making his 33rd start of the year tonight. He's pitched in 236 innings. That's 37 more than Kevin Tampany, who has started the same number of games. 2-2 pitch, rifled into right field, a base hit from Lance Johnson, and the Cubs are cooking here in the top of the first inning. Here's a look at the Cubs Pepsi lineup. Lance Johnson, the leadoff man. Then it's Morandini and Sammy Sosa. Now 1 behind Mark McGwire, who homered in the 9th inning in St. Louis. Grace, Rodriguez, and Gaetti. Houston, Hernandez, and Kevin Tampany.
For the Padres, Vaughn, Finley, and Gwynn left to right. Caminiti, Gomez, Veras, and Joyner in the infield. A battery of Carlos Hernandez and Kevin Brown. And there you look at some very impressive numbers.
Morandini, bouncing ball up the middle. Gomez will step on the bank, throw to first, double play.
Well, unfortunately for the Cubs, Kevin Brown throws ground ball after ground ball. And a couple of years ago, when he led the National League in earned run average, he averaged 4 ground balls to every flyout.
And a standing ovation for Sammy Sosa again. He was on the field taking batting practice when the video screen showed Mark McGwire hitting number 63 in St. Louis tonight.
He hit number 63 as a pinch hitter. Was his only at bat of the game. It came in the 9th inning. And I'm sure he will be starting the second game and have an opportunity to maybe hit a few more. So Sammy knows he's at least one back.
Lifetime against Brown. Sosa 5 for 19. And he's hit 2 home runs. And now they're putting out the special baseballs for Sammy Sosa. The same baseballs they were using for Mark McGwire. I imagine a numbered set with the secret markings. And Ed Rapuano in charge of those precious assets behind the plate. Here's Brown's first pitch to Sammy, and it's ball 1.
Sammy does have a couple of home runs career-wise against Kevin Brown. He's hitting .263 against him, 5 for 19.
Brown rocks on the rubber. The pitch is right through there. Sterling Hitchcock deserves a huge tip of the cap last night. He pitched an outstanding ball game for San Diego. The 1-1. Crossfire, bouncing ball back to Brown. He'll handle on a hop. He'll throw to first, and the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. After a half inning, the Cubs fail to score, and the Padres are coming up. Against Kevin Brown. Now the other Kevin. We'll take a look at this San Diego lineup. Kevin Tampany will try to handle Veras, Gwynn, and Vaughn. Ken Caminiti, the villain last night, his game-winning homer decided the affair. Wally Joyner, Steve Finley, Hernandez, Gomez, and Kevin Brown, the Padre pitcher.
And the Pepsi defense for Jim Riggleman and the Cubs. Rodriguez, Johnson, and Sosa left to right. Gaiety, Hernandez, Morandini, and Grace in the infield. A battery of Tyler Houston and Kevin Tampany, who, like Kevin Brown, is looking for win number 19 in this his 32nd start.
And as Veras stands in, good news in Houston. The Astros have taken a 3-2 lead over the Mets in Game 2 of that doubleheader. Veras takes a strike from Kevin Tampany. It's 0-1. The Astros beat the Mets in Game 1 down at the Dome as well. So a chance for the Cubs to do what I love to hear my partner say.
Pick up some ground, assuming that the Astros can hold on in that second game. And you got to figure both Houston and San Diego exceptionally tough in their home park.
How tough as Veras grounds the ball to short. Jose will take care of him, 1 away. Well, the Padres are only 53-22 at home. Only the Yankees in the American League have won more games. And only Houston's won as many as 52 in the National League. Here's Tony Gwynn.
Houston now at 53-23 at home. Both of these teams have been dominant when they get you in their home park.
Tony Gwynn, big swing. And you don't often see him take a hand off the bat as he completes his swing. But Gwynn, with a sprained medial collateral ligament in his elbow, has had some problems of late, but he hit a rocket last night. He's behind 2 strikes.
He also has a finger problem, and that put him on the shelf for a while. This is perennially one of the most difficult men in baseball to strike out.
Upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2. Strike 3 called. Gwynn's retired. 2 down. Let's send it back to our Chicago studios. Rich King with an update for us on Mark McGwire.
Well, Chip, you've talked about it. Now let's see it. It happened in Game 1, late in Game 1 of a twin bill against the Pirates at St. Louis. Mark McGwire in a pinch-hitting role. Skies one to left center off. Jason Christensen is gone for number 63. His first home in exactly a week when he hit number 62 against the Cubs. McGwire starting in Game 2. The Pirate pitcher Jose Silva will keep you posted. McGwire is 1 for 1, a double in Game 2. Back to San Diego.
Okay, Rich, thank you very much. Here's Greg Vaughn. He's 1 homer shy of the 50 home run club. Boy, what a rope he hit last night. His 49th jack of the year, 116 driven in. He's hitting .282.
Vaughn has always hit very well against Tampany, hitting .294 with a couple of home runs. He's 15 for 51.
That misses the outside corner. Well, we look for a low-scoring ball game tonight, I would think, with Kevin Brown pitching for San Diego. And Kevin Tampany's got a lot of bulldog in him. The other guy's best guy brings out the best in him usually. The 1-1 is a strike called inside corner. 1-2.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of range Henry Rodriguez has in left field. Now, he's playing on a tender ankle. He says he is well enough to play. It's going to be tough on a ball in the gap to see if he can get to it. And I'm sure he will be tested early in this one.
The 1-2. High fly ball hit to center field. Lance Johnson will have a play. He's under. He's got it. And Kevin Tampany works a quick 1-2-3. San Diego first. After one. Goose eggs for both teams there at Qualcomm Stadium. We go to the second inning. The middle of the Cubs order will try to tangle with Kevin Brown here. Grace, Henry Rodriguez, and Gary Gaetti. Brown has been awesome. 10 earned runs in his last 65 innings of work for the Padres. You'll remember we took a look at Kevin Brown at Wrigley Field earlier this year. He went nuts with Joe West behind the plate. He thought he was getting squeezed while out on the mound, and then arguing a strike call, got thrown out of the ball game. But no such luck. Mr. West in behind the dish tonight. You would imagine Brown, pitching for San Diego, wants to stick around a while. This is a very important game for the Padres as well as it is for the Cubs.
Very important game for Kevin Brown because he's got a legitimate shot at the Cy Young Award. And to do that, he's got to figure that he's going to have to win 20 games and keep that ERA down there.
And would you say the stiffest competition will come probably from the man on his own team, and Trevor Hoffman?
Trevor Hoffman, Tom Glavine. And I'm not sure if Greg Maddux will get any more starts depending on his arm, but a lot of competition from just about everybody right now.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Mark Grace, who stays alive.
When you look at some of the overall numbers of Kevin Brown, they have been just absolutely astonishing.
One and 2. Did he go? Yeah, he went around, and he's got his first strikeout of the game.
Well, that's what makes Brown so tough, is that he doesn't throw anything straight. And the ball not only comes in at 93, 94 miles an hour, but the movement is late, and the movement is sudden movement. It just all of a sudden disappears. That was a 93-mile-an-hour sinker that just dove away from Grace, and with that type of late movement, you just can't track it.
And these guys in San Diego, they just can't afford to say they can't afford Kevin Brown. They've got to find a way to get this guy under contract for a long-term deal. I mean, you got a guy that's going to win you 20 ball games a year. Yeah, it's going to cost maybe $10, maybe $11 million to keep the guy. Well, look how much better he makes the rest of their staff. You don't ever have a losing streak when you've got this guy going out to the mound for you 33, 34 times a year.
Well, he's also 33 years old, Chip, and I talked with one of the San Diego executives, and they expect the bidding to go out of sight. If you remember what Pedro Martinez got, he got $75 million. What they were talking about is if Kevin Brown wants to stay in San Diego and they can get him for what they view as a reasonable price, and they would be ecstatic if it was just $10 or $11 million. They're thinking more along the lines of 14 to 15 million, and he said over 4 or 5 years, we're not going to be able to pay that.
1-2, 1 and 3, 2 down.
But then again, from the other side of the coin, you talk with Bruce Bochy, as we both did before the game, and he says, you know, you realize what a number one does for you, but when you see the influence he has on the rest of your staff and how dominating Kevin Brown is and what he does to save your bullpen, you realize just how good it is to have a dominant number one starter, and Bochy was singing the praises of Brown before the game.
Gary Gaetti takes a slider on the outside corner. That's a nasty pitch. It's 0-1. Well, starting pitchers, starting number ones are awfully hard to come by. And this guy, it's hard to believe that he's played for Texas, that he's played for Baltimore, the Marlins, and now San Diego. Took him a while to find the magic, but he has certainly found it now. And Gaetti hits it a mile, but foul out of play for a 1-2 count.
One of the things that he has, as well as just overwhelming stuff, is he is as fierce a competitor as there is. He's just in his own way like Greg Maddux, just like Tom Glavine. And you would expect that whoever gets Kevin Brown, and they're certainly hoping that it's going to be the Padres who retain him, but whoever gets him, they're going to get quite a pitcher.
The 2-2. Got him swinging. He struck out the side. Well, Kevin Brown was perfect through 7 in his last start. He got the loss. He's faced the minimum through 2 here tonight, and he's in a scoreless game.
question is, just how much will you allocate when you know that you might not get the stadium? That's coming up after the World Series in a vote.
The vote will be in November. It's called Proposition C out here in Southern California. And everywhere you go in the ballpark, of course, they have the signs up. Vote yes on C for the new stadium in downtown San Diego. So you're right, it does put them in quite a quandary. What are they going to do? Do they make the commitment to the free agents or run the risk of losing them and then getting the ballpark?
Well, I think priority number one is Kevin Brown, and then they'll worry about what they're going to do with the rest of the free agents. But certainly, you really have to have that man if you're going to build your pitching staff for the next 3 or 4 years.
2 balls, 2 strikes. To Wally Joyner. He and Mark Grace, boy, very similar kinds of players. Very good with the glove, always a 300 average. And average home run power. And Joyner strikes out. Second one of those for Tapani, who's retired the first 5 Padres in a row.
Kevin Tapani knows he's going to have very good stuff tonight as he goes head-to-head with Kevin Brown. And he's got very good stuff. This one sinks out of the strike zone. And Tapani has retired 5 straight. So far, matching Kevin Brown pitch for pitch.
Well, that's what you'd expect out of Tapani. When you're going against the other guy's ace, you want to show your best stuff. I'm sure you felt the same way when you were out on the mound and you had to go against the other guy's best hurler.
Well, you just knew, one, that you couldn't walk anybody, and 2, you know it was going to be a low-scoring game, and so every pitch had to have your full concentration.
And Kevin would be the first to tell you that during this 6-game winning streak he's had, during the first portion of that, he was winning because the Cubs were scoring a lot of runs. During the last 3 ball games, he's given up only 7 earned runs in 23 1/3 innings. So he's really gotten his command back.
I would think the changeup to Finley would be a good pitch. He's trying to pull everything. If you off-speed him, if you keep it down, you'll get the ground ball to the right side.
2-1. He has been trying to pull everything. Hit a worm burner to the shortstop, though. And he's retired. 3 up, 3 down. Kevin Tapani perfect through 2 after 2. 0-0 in San Diego. For Tyler Houston, Jose Hernandez, and Kevin Tapani against Kevin Brown. The Cubs have the game's only hit, that by Lance Johnson leading off the first inning. Kevin Brown and Kevin Tapani each seeking their 19th win of the year in a big-time pitching matchup here in San Diego. The other big stories in baseball, Mark McGwire hit number 63 tonight in Game 1 of a doubleheader against the Pirates. The Mets lost Game 1 of a doubleheader to the Astros in extra innings, and Houston leading them 3-2 in the 7th inning of Game 2 down at the Astrodome.
Matt Mieske and Sammy probably telling Matt, stay with it. He'll hit a few more home runs before it's over. Sammy looks like the pressure's getting to him, I believe.
He's amazing, boy. 0-1.
He's been pretty loose through all of this historic year, and Sammy has one thing going for him that Mark McGwire doesn't. After September 27th, Mark is going home. Sammy is hoping to go to the playoffs, and so he has a lot more to play for these days.
That just missed the outside corner. Hats off to Jimmy Roberts, the fine reporter for ESPN. A nice story on the hometown of Sammy Sosa down in the Dominican Republic and what his heroics have meant to not only the Sosa family, but that island nation as well, as Houston strikes out. 4 in a row have been struck out by Kevin Brown.
This is a bullet of a fastball. Brown's throwing 95 miles an hour. He has a fastball that moves 3 different ways, and he can make it move at will, and he makes it move by design. It's not happenstance. The Astros on the verge of taking a twin bill as they lead by 1 in the 2nd game. A dramatic Derek Bell 12th inning home run won the first game, and the Astros looking for 2.
Well, the Mets have won all those doubleheaders to start the year. It's about time that the payback time came.
But don't forget, they're also on the tail end of a 10-game road trip, and they had a torturous schedule. Now, at this point, the Cubs have 3 more home games The Mets have 5 more home games. So right now, the Mets schedule looking just a touch more favorable than the Cubs. That's why this head-to-head is so important, with us here in San Diego hoping to win at least 2 games, let's say, and maybe seeing the Mets lose 3 of 4 in Houston.
2 balls, 2 strikes to the Cubs shortstop, Jose Hernandez. And he is struck out. Man, oh man, this is amazing. He has struck out 5 consecutive men. And Mr. Brown is very nasty here tonight.
This is a backdoor slider that catches the inside corner, and Jose Hernandez, like the 4 previous Cubs, goes down on strike.
Now Kevin Tapani stands in, and he looks at a strike. McGuire has been swinging a hot bat tonight. They lead game 2 against the Pirates. The pitch. Well, what else makes tough Brown too, Stoney? He comes at you from several different arm angles too, and has masterful stuff.
And what I like, Chip, is he doesn't give you a chance to get set. He gets the ball and he throws it.
2 strikes. Strike 3. He struck out 6 in a row, and he's faced the minimum through 3. And Kevin Tapani match him strike for strike in the 3rd. We'll find out after this. This is back to April 28th at the Q when the hitman Tony Gwynn pounded out 5 hits in a Padres 7-3 win. Gwynn raised his average 39 points with one of his 9 career 5-hit games and capped off the night with a long home run. Tony Gwynn, 1 5-hit game shy of Pete Rose's National League record, is tonight's Discover Card payback playback. Kevin Tapani goes to work here in the 3rd, and a line drive off the bat of the Padre catcher Carlos Hernandez. Ball kicked by Henry in left, but no advance by the base runner, and there's the first San Diego hit, a leadoff single here in the 3rd. So the score is even, the hits are even, and Chris Gomez will be the batter.
First ball out over the plate, and Carlos Hernandez drives it into left field. Henry has some problems with it, but without great speed, Hernandez isn't going anywhere. Now perhaps you can induce Gomez to ground into a double play. Kevin Brown is a pretty good hitter in the on-deck circle.
Gomez 2 out of 15 lifetime against Tapani. And Kevin stretches and fires. Swung on, hit high in the air into right center field. Lance Johnson has a play. He's got it, 1 away.
For both of these pitchers, not wasting any time, both of them getting the first pitch over the plate and trying to work as quickly as possible. And now it's not automatic that Brown is going to bunt. He's a good handler of the bat. He has 6 sacrifices, but this man has driven home 9 runs, and he's got 15 hits this year.
Hitting 195, he's driven home 9 men. This guy could play for me. If I had a ball club, 1 ball, no strikes. Tell you what, you put this guy right on the top of your list of the all-time gamer list. He's on that team, no question about it.
Well, after your next negotiation, look into buying a club and make Brown your number 1.
Well, if I made the kind of money you did, I could probably get away with that. 1-0. That misses outside. I'd have Brown. I'd have Tom Glavine. I'd have Randy Johnson. I'd have Steve Stone.
Here's a good pitching staff. Of course, you'd have a payroll at $150 million. But then again, look, you'd have a stadium that sat 80,000 people and check them in on a nightly basis.
Nothing like a $12 Pepsi to quench a fan's thirst. The 2-0. Here's the strike, 2-1.
Now let's see if they decide, with everybody charging as hard as they are, if they decide to let Kevin Brown pull the bat back and maybe pull a surprise party. That's Tim Flannery, the former second baseman of these same Padres, getting the signs from Bruce Bochy and then giving them to Brown. Gaetti and Grace charging hard at the corner.
The bunt laid down beautifully. Grace will tag him, and how about Brown? He didn't stop. He went right through the tag, hoping that maybe Grace would drop the ball. You have to like that as well. He sacrifices Hernandez to second and gives Kilby O'Veras a chance to put the Padres in front.
Sacrifice number 7 for Kevin Brown, and it's a good one. He deadens the bunt, leaving Mark Grace with only 1 play, and he takes it himself. And now Veras, a switch hitter who's hit much better from the right side this year. And the outfield playing him very shallow, especially in center and right.
Bouncing ball right side. Morandini handles it easily, and the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. What a pitching duel we've got going on in San Diego. Nothing after 3.
Runs 59 through 62. How much longer would that bat have lasted for you?
I have to say, I don't know, but I wish I would have it last night.
Hey, man, forget Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We need Sammy the National League Pitcher Slayer. That should be the new series on the WB. He's been handling this all so very, very well. He's made it a lot of fun for us. Not just watching his exploits, but waiting to see what Sammy will say next.
And before the game, it was kind of interesting. Here was the whole team, including Sammy, sitting around the television watching a special on Sammy. And it was really entertaining to see the reaction of everyone and how well Sammy's handled it. They looked at some of the shots from the Dominican Republic, a lot of the young people that he's helped down there.
Lance Johnson's 2 out of 2 against Kevin Brown. That snaps his string and 6 consecutive strikeouts. And once again, the Cubs try to get something scratched out against Kevin Brown. Stoney, get the feeling that the way these two guys are firing, 1 run might be enough tonight.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing a situation here where you use either a hit and run or a bunt with Morandini. Last time Mickey was up in a similar situation, he grounded into a double play. And you've got a pretty good throwing catcher in Carlos Hernandez.
Mickey hit the ball sharply, but right to the shortstop for the tailor-made twin killing. This time he's taking, and he takes a strike.
Ken Caminiti, for one, thinks there's a bunt possibility. He is very shallow and in on the grass. Greg Vaughn is very shallow in left field. Took a base hit away from Morandini last night on a line drive in the 9th inning.
0-1. Johnson a good lead at first. He's going. The pitch, swing and a miss. Hernandez the throw. Lance puts on the brakes, and he's going to be caught. Joyner runs him into the tag.
Well, the hit and run was on, and you have to credit Jim Riggleman. It was a good idea. It's just that Lance was hung out to dry. Hernandez has a great arm. Once Mickey missed this one, there was no place for Lance to go. And he's cut down stealing. We'll watch it again. There's the hit and run, and look at the throw by Hernandez. And Lance goes, uh-oh, I've got some big problems. You're not going to outrun this particular combination. And the tag put on by Chris Gomez.
2-4-3-6 on the caught stealing. And Morandini facing a 2-strike count. Bouncing ball hit towards second. That'll be easy, and it is 2 away. So again, it's Sammy Sosa with the bases empty. And again, the big crowd of over 45,000 stands as one. A big tip of the cap to the Padre fans. This story is about an awful lot more than who wins and who loses. And they've acknowledged Sosa very graciously and very warmly here the first 2 nights. Well, that goes without saying. They want to see him make it out. But some of them would also like to see him crack the home run. Brown winds the pitch. Misses inside, ball 1. Sammy with 62 homers, 148 batted in. He scored 123 times as well. He is the MVP in my opinion. The 1-0 crossfire. It's 2-0, and here's a look at our ComEd Power Profile.
The ComEd Power Profile is Sammy Sosa, career against the Padres, and he's just killed them. 347, 21, and 59.
2-0. Swing. What a cut. 2-1.
This is start number 33 for Kevin Brown. And inning number 240. And in all of that work, he has allowed just 7 home runs. He's done a remarkable job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. But Sammy loves sinker ballers.
2-1. Way high. It's 3 balls and a strike. Brown's not going to pitch around anybody.
Well, now you'd have to figure he's going to see a sinker away.
3-1. He got it away. Bouncing ball up the middle. What a play, Veras. Off balance. Throw it in time. That almost took Kevin's head off, and Veras made a great play at second base to retire the speedy Sosa. No runs, one hit, nobody left after 3.5. Nothing. After a buzzsaw fastball is fouled back to the screen, the count of ball and a strike to Tony, who struck out looking his first time up. Scoreless game in the San Diego fourth now. And Tony falls behind 1-2.
And with it all locked up, you wonder why the Padres are still going out there and pushing every day. And that's because they have got to come up with the best record in the league to have the home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
1-2. How about that? Tony Gwynn has struck out twice in this game. Steve, he came in with 16 strikeouts in 418 at-bats this year.
He's the toughest man to fan in the National League, but not tonight. One called, one swinging, and Kevin Tapani has done something I haven't seen in a long time, and that's 2 strikeouts of Tony Gwynn.
Well, if you wondered what the Commander Pete Tomo looks like, we think we found the man that probably has come closest all year.
Lord knows they have the same hairstyle.
Here's Greg Vaughn, swung on and belted down the left field line. Look how far that ball's going to travel. But it's a long, loud strike, 0-1.
Vaughn knew he got every bit of it, but fortunately for Kevin Tapani, he changed up on him. He had him well out in front. And Vaughn knows it's got home run distance, but nothing doing.
And it's fouled back to the screen. Well, happy 40th birthday to Billy Friedman. Big Cubs fan since he was 8 years old. Our AD, John Q. Reynolds, is tight with his main man, Billy. He said he's tired of destroying you on the golf course. Maybe when you're 50, you'll be able to beat him. He said the pitch is high. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And we'd like to send along best wishes to Jeff and Jay Nalick. A couple of Cub fans here rooting on the Cubs.
1-2. Shakespeare fans, too, we understand.
Yes, indeed.
Also, happy birthday greetings to Mary Jane Bartlett, 98 years young tomorrow. Watching the game tonight, we hope, in Lewistown, Illinois.
I think if you keep the ball away from Vaughn, you should be in pretty good shape. It's going to be the changeup. Keep it down.
Old foul down the third base line. Count stays 2-2 to the man that probably will win the Comeback Player Award for San Diego this year.
Well, he's got a chance to win Comeback Player of the Year. Pete Harnish has a good chance of winning Comeback Player of the Year.
2-2 is high. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
One came back from a bad season. The other came back from just a real bad life crisis. And it looks like the Mets have broken through. John Olerud with a 3-run homer.
Again, it's pulled foul. And again, Vaughn stays alive. Vaughn leads this Padre team in homers and RBIs. If he goes yard here, he'll become the 10th man in National League history to hit 50 home runs.
Well, keep it low and away, and he will not take it out of the ballpark. It's a breaking ball. Keep it down.
He did. Pulled toward third. Gaetti handles a mean hop and throws him out at first.
That was a bit of self-preservation on the part of Gary Gaetti. If you're going to play third, you better have fast hands, and especially here in San Diego, where the infield is lightning fast. And this one hit right there, right at Caminiti. From the left field camera, you can take a look at a 1-hop rocket.
That's why they call it the hot corner, folks. That ball was smoked. Here's Caminiti. And he looks at the ball low. He flied out deep to center his first time up. Nothing game. We are flying along here in San Diego. Way out in front, 1-1.
Coming into tonight's action, Atlanta and Houston were tied for the best record in the league. San Diego 1 game back. And that means if you do have the best record, in 3 of 5, you get 1 and 5 in your home park, and that's a tremendous advantage. If it goes to Houston, you've got Randy Johnson 1 and 5 in the Dome. If it goes to San Diego, you've got Kevin Brown 1 and 5 in this ballpark. And that's what all 3 teams are shooting for.
2 balls, 1 strike to Ken Caminiti, who had the big home run last night. Rocket, right field base hit. Well, if he's going to hit the ball hard, that's the way you want to see him do it, on the ground and for 1 base.
Caminiti gets over the top of this one and drives it right by Morandini. Now, normally, you don't have to worry about Caminiti running too often, although he's stolen 6 bases. He's been caught twice. The Padres have not been a speedy team, although last night they took advantage of the Cubs 3 different times.
Joyner struck out his first time, pops it out of play for strike 1. We're in the 4th. Scoreless game, 1 on, a couple of men out. Big enthusiastic crowd on hand at Qualcomm Stadium. Boy, this is tough duty coming out here. The weather has been oh so delightful. Bouncing ball, Tampany spears that. Boy, we're seeing a great ball game tonight, folks. It's a pleasure to be here. Nothing doing for the Padres in their half of the 4th. Mark Grace leads it off in the 5th for the Cubs. It's 0-0.
Chicago Cubs.
Blue Jays took the defeat. Dave Steve started that game, and Manny Ramirez made him pay. He hit 3 home runs. Yikes. Red Sox beat the Yankees. The Yankees are really sliding right now. That's a big win for Boston.
Yes, New York has all kinds of problems.
Well, Toronto beat him 3 straight.
And at 104 and 45. Over 700 baseball for the Bronx Bombers.
Good or bad? Henry takes the ball low.
Well, there's still a long way to go, but
I don't think they're going to run the table.
Nope. Their lead down to 20 games over the Red Sox.
So Boston picks up a game in the wild card. That gives them a little bit more of a cushion. It was a 3-game lead in the American League. Now it's back to 4. 1-1 to Henry. Man, oh man, that was almost a get out of my way swing. 1-2.
There has not been an outfield putout against Kevin Brown. This fastball inside, and Henry not even close.
Well, maybe we'll catch these guys picking dandelions out there. 1-2. Ouch. That caught the catcher with that new hockey style face mask. And Hernandez is all right. Look and listen to this one.
Bang. Wake up, Carlos.
1-2. Bouncing balls. Brown trying to kick it up the middle. The shortstop not in time. Henry got down the line in pretty good shape. And let's see if he's okay as he legs out the infield hit.
Kevin Brown looks like a soccer player trying to stop this one. And no such luck. Good effort by Gomez, but Henry gets down the line surprisingly well and beats the play at first. And I can't believe that ankle is feeling too good at this point. But he takes off the shin guard after legging out an infield hit.
And that brings Gary Gaetti to the dish. The Cubs with 3 hits. The Padres now with 2. 1 out in the 5th inning. Gaetti, a strikeout victim, swinging back in the Cubs' 2nd. Brown has struck out 6 men. And some chin music backs him away. Troy Van Way with his kids Jeffrey and Daniel are at the ball game tonight. I want to say hi to their grandfather Gene watching the game in St. Charles, Illinois. Hoping to see the Cubs win and Sammy crack a home run tonight. 1 ball, no strikes. It's even 1-1. The Giants are gaining a measure of revenge tonight over the Diamondbacks. Arizona humiliated them last night 14-2. 1 ball, 1 strike. Henry a short lead over at first. Brown off the stretch. And another swing and a miss. 1-2. Let's pause quickly for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
There's pandemonium here in San Diego.
Not bad. Bouncing ball. Past third.
And that San Diego Zoo is something to behold. That is a dandy. I don't think the Giants have quite given up yet, 3.5 games back, but they're 3.5 games back of 2 teams, and that makes things awfully tough for them.
They do have another game with the Diamondbacks coming up. And they always seem to play the Dodgers in the final week of the season. I think they have the same situation there, and you know that L.A. would love nothing better than to dash what dwindling hopes the Giants still have for making the postseason. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner at first, 1 out for the Cubs in the 5th. Gary digs in the pitch. Just missed high, I suppose. 2-2. Gary's looking for his first hit in the series. He went 0 for 4 last night. He's 0 for 1 tonight. The stretch now, the 2-2 pitch. Bouncing ball left side. Caminiti short hop. Goes to second one. That's the only play they'll have. That's a good play by Caminiti. Handling the funny hop. And Henry had no chance to get to second base in time. And he's out number 2.
Caminiti, a good third baseman, used to be a great third baseman. He's made 21 errors this year, but he still has a great arm and pretty good hands. This is not a real good throw to Veras, and so the timing of that double play disrupted. And Gary with a chance to give the Cubs 1 more out.
And that brings Tyler Houston to the dish. He was caught looking his first time. And a big swing. It's 0-1. Friends, our next telecast on WGN will be the series finale Thursday at 4 o'clock our time as the Cubs and Padres tangle for the 4th and final time. Mike Morgan, Stan Spencer will be the pitching matchup. Then it's home for 3 against the Reds. The final 3 home games of the year. And fans, don't forget a big Sammy Sosa celebration Sunday at Wrigley Field.
And get there early because there are a lot of festivities, and you'll want to honor just a phenomenal year from Sammy Sosa.
1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch. 1-2. If you can't get tickets for the ball game, we'll be on the air about an hour earlier than normal. We'll be on at 12 noon. Steve and I will be hosting a special program reliving some of the great moments that Sammy Sosa has given us here in 1998. And then we'll carry, of course, the Sammy Sosa festivities on WGN as well. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Tyler Houston.
Well, you would think that Brown would be trying to sink this away from Houston. And with Vaughn playing fairly shallow in left field, maybe Tyler can drive the ball into left center.
That would be nice. 2-2. Hit high in the air, right at Vaughn in left. He'll drift back a step, move to his left 2 steps. He'll put it away. And the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We're halfway through this briskly played ball game, and no one has yet scored. Steve Finley, the center fielder, will lead it off against Kevin Tampany. And he pops it down out of play. How about this stat? Steve Finley last night stole 2 bases for the Padres. That's the first time all year San Diego has had a man steal more than 1 base by himself in a ballgame all year long.
This has not been a real fast team. You take a look at the numbers. They've only stolen 76. Their leading base runner, Veras, has 24. But it's a team that's really done it with their pitching and their exceptional bullpen.
Houston's coming back, Stoney. It's now 5-4 in favor of the Mets. The Astros have a tying run at second with nobody out in that ball game. That's good news. 1-2. Bouncing ball pulled to the right side. Mickey handles the second hop and throws out Finley. And there's out number 1 here in the 5th. And friends, mark your calendars now for the 14th annual Cubs Convention. Join the 1998 Cubs players along with your favorite Cubs from the past. This fan favorite will take place at the Chicago Hilton and Towers January 15th through the 17th, 1999. For reservations, call 312-922-4400. Or for more information, dial 773-404-CUBS. That ball pulled and grabbed by Gaetti. What a play. Are you sure he's 40? Man, he's playing like a man half his age. I mean, Hernandez hit that ball as hard as you possibly can.
Outstanding effort by Gary Gaetti. He was playing off the line, still had quick enough reflexes to go to his right and take a double away from Hernandez, who's hit the ball like a bullet twice.
And now here's Gomez. A strike from Tapani. Man, these guys tonight, the two Kevins, are just firing pellets out there tonight. The 0-1. That missed inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Only 5 hits combined, and we're almost through 5 innings. Neither team has really mounted much of a challenge against the other pitcher.
2 balls, 1 strike. The 2-1. Line drive, right field. Gomez is 1 for 2 now. That's the 3rd San Diego hit. Number 27. And Brown again strides to the plate.
There's Bruce Bochy, who's going to be a bona fide candidate for Manager of the Year. I'm sure that Larry Dierker will also get some support.
And well, they should. They've both done outstanding jobs this year. They've had a lot of talent. And Brown looks at a strike, 0-1. The Padres winning 95 times this year. They have never won 100 games here in San Diego. Brown tries to bunt his way on and is behind 2, strikes quickly.
You look at the Padres, Chip, and that batting average of 256 puts them toward the bottom in the league. Yet they've stayed afloat because of the pitching staff. They are 3rd in the league behind Atlanta and the Houston Astros. Houston is 2nd in hitting and 2nd in pitching. There's a couple of guys offensively that have done it all year.
Well, what kind of team would you prefer to build? A team that can slug or a team that can pitch? I guess it's kind of a loaded question asking a pitcher that, but which is your preference?
Well, I think you have to have a combination of both. I don't think that you can have a team that's going to try to win the pennant 2-1 every day. You conversely can't have a team that's going to try to win it 11-10. You have to have a little bit of both. That's what's made Houston so tough, because not only can they hit, they pitch very well, and they have speed. And in their home park, they've been dominant. But the Padres have been dominant also in their home park, despite having a less than awesome offense.
1-2. 1-3. Tapani strikes out Brown. Man, this is fun to watch, isn't it? Folks, you're watching the art of pitching at its finest. No score through 5 in San Diego. Will score first. And let's take a look at the Cubs and the Padres. What do you see inside the numbers?
Well, quite obviously, the Cubs have much more power, and the Padres have much better pitching. In one-run games, the Padres have been awfully tough, but the Cubs have put together a banner season. Padres leading the season series. All that is completely irrelevant if these two teams hook up in the postseason. You can really throw out the season record. They won't mean anything at that point. And there's a very good chance that if the Cubs do win the wild card, this could very well be the matchup.
And wouldn't that be something? As Jose pops the ball out of play, 0-1. Chance to maybe gain a little revenge for that playoff series several years ago between the Cubs and the Padres. But getting there is the rub. The Cubs got to get there. 0-1. That slides away. 1-1. Jose is 2 out of 5 in the series. He has struck out once tonight.
And he hit the game-tying home run last night, only to see it washed away by a Ken Caminiti blast.
That missed outside. 2-1. Brown doesn't fall behind many hitters.
We'll take a look in at Carlos Hernandez. He wants the fastball, and he wants it in.
That's exactly where he got it, but too far inside for the liking of Ed Rapuano. Well, what do you look for here on a 3-1?
I look for a fastball out away.
Bounce toward third and into left field for a hit.
Caminiti had a shot at that ball and just didn't pick it. It does go as a base hit. Jose got the fastball on 3-1, but Brown didn't get it away enough. And from the left field camera, we'll take a look at a ball that just bounces over the glove of Ken Caminiti. And it sets up the Kevin Tapani bunt.
And this might turn out to be the biggest play in the ball game. If he can get this bunt down, you've got Lance Johnson, who's 2 out of 2 already in the ball game. And the way both of these men are pitching again, 1 run just might be enough. So a huge at bat for Tapani here. And he offered at that pitch. Boy, did you see that ball? It just does not come in straight at all. It explodes, it darts, it dances. And it's strike 1.
Houston is coming back at the Mets. They put runners at the corners, nobody out, and former Cub Turk Wendell has come into the ball game.
Let's go Rose. Tapani skips out of the way. A snap throw back toward first, where Kilvio Veras came in behind the base runner, and Jose was wisely back in plenty of time.
Well, if you have a choice here, if you're Kevin Tapani, it's going to be tough because of the movement of the ball, but you'd rather have Joyner field the ball than Caminiti. He doesn't have near as good an arm.
The 1-1 is fouled by the pitcher, and it's 1-2.
Normally, catchers really hate to see pitchers come up in a bunt situation because if they do foul it off, it's going to be fouled off usually a part of their anatomy, most likely their foot. And that's exactly what happened to Hernandez. So you're rooting for the pitcher to make some contact or pop it up.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Still bunting. He missed it and struck out. 7 strikeouts. For Kevin Brown, runner stays at first. Kevin can't get the bunt down, and that might really hurt us here.
You see the ball just sink out of sight. And bunting usually isn't all that difficult, except when you have a man throwing 94 miles an hour and the ball is dropping 6-7 inches.
Well, Lance has done a fine job of hitting Kevin Brown. He's taken the ball to left field, just dumped it over the shortstop's head. And he's always hit him well. He came in with a .316 lifetime average. And he whacks away at the first pitch, 0-1.
Well, he got a couple of first ball fastballs, and Kevin Brown, understanding that Lance will be swinging early in the count, went to a good hard slider, and he got the strike.
Johnson was hitless last night, but has 2 in this game. Jose leads from first and draws a throw back.
I don't think they're going to be running too much more as far as a straight steal on Carlos Hernandez. He gunned down Lance Johnson in the 4th inning on the hit and run.
Much closer play, and Jose back again standing at first.
Now, Brown has made 9 wild pitches this year, and Jim Riggleman knows the importance of 1 run the way his starter Kevin Tapani is throwing tonight. So both of these pitchers really bringing out the best in one another, and the hitters have done very little this evening.
7 hits between the teams. A dramatic difference in games for the Cubs in San Diego. The 0-1 on the way. It's outside. Boy, you think back to those slugfests at home. Cubs beat the Brewers 11-10 in one of those games.
15-12, lost 13-11. But then again, there's a few better arms here in San Diego.
1 ball, 1 strike. Outside. Brown having some trouble solving Lance Johnson here. 2-1.
Dirk Wendell got out of a big jam, and the Mets batting in the top of the ninth, leading 5-4.
The 2-1. Outside corner. It's 2-2.
I don't think Lance was very happy with that call, and it looked like a fairly generous outside corner. That's why he wasn't happy with the call, because it was about 6 inches outside.
Let's see if Brown goes there again. He tried to. He did. Lance fouls it into the catcher's glove. 8 strikeouts in the game, and after a leadoff single, there are now 2 outs for Morandini.
Brown just took something off this one, turned it over, and it just dives away from Lance Johnson.
So there are 2 outs in the 6th. Padres will have the top of their order due up in the bottom half of the inning. Let's see if Mickey can split a gap here against Brown. He's 0 for 2. And he looks at strike 1. Mr. Brown's got it all going on tonight. Sammy could hit next.
The gap is in right center field. If Brown throws a slider and Mickey can pull it, then Jose can score from first. But you have to pull it in that gap.
Swing and a miss. 0-2.
You got to have a very talented man behind the plate if Kevin Brown goes to the mound, because he's just so difficult to handle. Everything moves. A lot of it winds up in the dirt, and the 9 wild pitches will attest to that.
The 2-strike pitch won't be made. I don't remember a guy this year that I've seen have this much movement on his pitches as we've seen Kevin Brown have tonight.
Well, that's because nobody does. I mean, he's got the most movement in the league, and he throws it so hard. That's what makes it special.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
I mean, Greg Maddux has tremendous movement on his pitches, but he throws 6, 7, 8 miles an hour slower than Kevin Brown.
1-2. Struck him out. Man, oh man, he strikes out the side again. He's done that 3 times in the game. After a leadoff single, the Cubs whip 3 times. After 5.5, still scoreless. Kilvio Veras takes the ball low as this great pitcher's duel continues in San Diego. High again. Chip Carey along with Steve Stone. This has to warm the cockles of your old pitcher's heart, watching these 2 Kevins deal the way they've been dealing tonight.
Well, they both do it a different way, but both very effective, and the hitters almost no factor tonight. The pitchers haven't been in any trouble, and hopefully Kevin Tapani can continue to match Kevin Brown pitch for pitch.
This figures to be a tough inning for him. He's got the first 3 in the San Diego order, and a good idea to do what Kevin's done so far, that is retire Veras.
Well, this is the best base runner on this team. He's stolen 24 bases. If you don't get him, it sets up a very tough inning.
Tony Gwynn's waiting next, and Veras sends a high drive, deep left center field with a ballpark. Hold it. It won't. 1-0 Padres.
Home run number 6, RBI number 44, and the deadlock is broken in a most unlikely way. Kilvio Veras going the opposite way, and he puts the Padres on top 1-0. For Kevin Tapani, he leads the staff in home runs allowed. That is 27.
And there was not much doubt about this when it was really hit a ton.
High fastball, and Kilvio unloads.
Kilvio killed it. And here's Gwynn 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. A little squibber down the left field line and foul. You can tell, Stoney, he's still not 100% at all. It looks like it really hurts him to swing the bat. Gwynn struck out looking once, swinging another time. And just doesn't have the same crispness in that future Hall of Fame swing.
Well, I feel a lot worse for him if he didn't rifle a double last night to put them up on top.
Ground ball hit the second. Morandini will handle that from a knee. He'll throw out Gwynn. One away in the 6th inning for Greg Vaughn now.
There is the man of the hour as far as the Padres are concerned, Julio Barrett. And here's another guy that's hurt Kevin Tapani over the course of his career. Hit a towering shot, just foul last time up.
Vaughn fly to center, grounded to third. He's got 49 home runs on the year. He had a big cut and pops it foul. Out of play off to our right.
Vaughn says that it makes him somewhat happy that he's turned around all the boos that cascaded around him over the course of a disappointing year. But he says although he's enjoying every part of this season, he can't forget the way he was treated here. And it's something that will always stay with him.
1-1. 1-2. Good breaking ball. Well, it wasn't easy for him. I mean, he came over from San Diego, or to San Diego from Milwaukee. Was expected to be the big thumper in the middle of their lineup to protect Ken Caminiti and Tony Gwynn. For the most part, he did that. Didn't have huge power numbers, though. Last year had all kinds of problems health-wise. Was playing some with Ricky Henderson. Didn't get off. He felt enough at bats to be successful, and all of those demons have been exercised for him this year. He's been maybe their most valuable offensive player.
And also he's done a lot of eye exercises that he says is the big difference. He said he's able to see the ball a lot better, and he's able to stay much more focused these days. And last year, you're right, Chip, just for him, a terrible year. 216, just 18 home runs, 57 driven in. And last night, Greg Vaughn hit number 49, and there was no doubt about it.
Again, the 3-2. And Kevin Loston. That's his first walk. And Ken Caminiti will stand in. Caminiti with a lot of power, too, but maybe Cap can get him to hit the ball on the ground, and maybe he'll double up.
And Caminiti saying that he would like to come back here to San Diego, but if that's not a possibility, he said he would welcome the idea of perhaps Houston. And he says, you know, I've always hit well at Wrigley Field, and I kind of like Chicago. He's not the Lone Ranger. There's a lot of folks that feel that way.
High pop. Will that stay in play? Gaetti over near the stands will have a play, and he'll make it with one hand. Caminiti upset with himself. He pops out to third for a big second out. You may have to arm wrestle Mr. Gaetti for a chance to come back to Chicago next year, because Gary's having a great resurgence with the Cubs. Wally Joyner 0 for 2. Padres 1, Cubs nothing. Will it be enough? One run in this game. The way Kevin Brown's pitching, you hate to say it, it might be. Hopefully we'll be proven wrong. 0-1.
It only looks like he's been feeling for the ball tonight. He really hasn't had a good look at Kevin Tapani, who's had him off balance. He's had him out in front of most everything. And so far he's handled him and many of these Padres very well.
Wally lifetimes, we told you, 9 for 50 lifetime against Tapani coming into tonight's game. He has struck out and hit a one-hopper back to the mound for his 0 for 2. 1-0 San Diego. That just missed. 1-1.
Ran into a former teammate of mine, Thad Bosley, member of the White Sox and the Cubs. Once had 20 pinch hits as a Cub. 20 for 60.
That's outstanding.
Yes, coming off the bench. A great year.
That ball hit a ton toward left. But Henry's going to have a play. He's under it. He's got it. And the inning is over. Kilvio Veras unties the game with his 6th home run. It's 1-0 San Diego after 6. All right, Sammy, let's see if you can tie this sucker up here. 1-0 after 6. He's done just about everything a human could ask for here in 1998. Mark McGwire has hit 1 home run tonight. He's retaken the lead at 63 on the year. Sosa tonight 0 for 2, and Brown back to work. And a fastball for a strike. That one looked like it was right down the middle.
94 miles an hour, and Sammy has been pitched awfully tough in this series.
Yes, he has. The 0-1. Swung on the line, right center field. It's going to drop. Will it go to the wall? No, it's cut off. Good play in center by Finley. Well, again, the Cubs have the leadoff man aboard now. Let's see if we can make some hay here. Sosa, Grayson, Rodriguez.
Sammy Sosa drives this ball into right center field. Finley does a nice job of getting to it. That's the tying run as the flash bulbs flashing in the background and Finley flashing into right center. Now you certainly want to stay out of the double play, and let's see if there's some movement with the Grace-Sosa combination.
Not on that pitch, and Grace swung through at 0-1. Mark, lifetime 4 out of 16 against Kevin Brown. He's 0 for 6 in the series. The Padres, again, as Steve mentioned, one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. Nothing in 1. That bounces away. Sosa will take second. There's a break. Runner in scoring position with nobody out, and a count of 1-1 to Gracie.
Well, that's the 10th wild pitch of the year, and that's what Brown does a lot. And fortunately now the Cubs out of the double play situation. Hernandez doesn't do a good job this time. He tries to backhand a ball that's right in the middle of his body. You have to turn the glove over and get your body in front of it. Bruce Bochy, I'm sure, did not appreciate that effort.
2 balls and a strike. One on, nobody out. A 1-0 San Diego game. The 2-1 is inside. Good stop by the catcher that time. And the count 3-1. Our senior producer director of Cubs baseball is Arnie Harris. Tonight's game produced by the Commander, Pete Toma. Our associate producer is Mark Brady. Jim Fields, our coordinating producer. The executive producer of WGN Sports is Bob Vorwald. Our AD tonight in the booth is the one, the only, the best in the business, John Q. Reynolds. 3-1.
And Mark would love to pull this ball and move along Sosa. The Mets starting to pull away.
3-1, belted deep toward right. Gracie's done it again, and the Cubs are back in front. Attaboy, Gracie, 2-1. We told you Brown doesn't fall behind many men. That time he did, and Mark Grace has a new season high in home runs, number 17 on the year.
He's driven in 85. And for only the 8th time this year, Kevin Brown has allowed a ball to leave the ballpark. So Mark Grace has given the Cubs the lead.
Henry Rodriguez skies the ball foul down the left side. Man, that ball was crushed. And how about the home runs he's hit in the last 96 hours? Man, some huge blasts in the last couple days and all year long. 2-1 Cubs, and the fans here are sitting in stunned silence. To Wally Joyner at first, and Henry will be retired. There's one away.
Mark Grace got a 3-1 pitch out over the plate and put a charge into it. Tony Gwynn knew it was gone when it left the bat. Mark Grace, who doesn't have an opportunity to do much hopping when he leaves the batter's box, took that little Sammy Crow hop.
I like it. Of course, Sammy gets a little bit higher off the ground than Grace does.
Well, Mark hasn't had near as much practice as Sammy. And the bullpen up and going for the first time tonight. That's Kevin Brown due up 4th in the 7th. That's Brian Boehringer.
1-1. Rocket into right center field. That's going to drop. That might roll to the wall. It will. Gaetti's got himself a double at least. Finley drops the ball. He's going to try. He rounds second. Here's the relay. It's up the line. And Gaetti triples to the right center field gap.
And there's something about a wild card chase and postseason play to put the spring back in some older legs. Gary Gaetti saw that Finley had some problems with that one, and he just turned it on and beat the play at third. So the Cubs making things a little uncomfortable for Kevin Brown. Gaetti just drives this ball into right center field. Nobody's going to get it, as it does indeed go to the wall. And then Finley just misses it. And we've seen so many times
a broken bat roller.
And he's out at first. It's a fair ball.
Yeah, Joyner didn't tag anybody, then flips to Veras standing on the bag. And that's out number 2 from Tyler Houston. Well, that's not too good.
I was going to say, we've seen so many outfielders try to barehand balls when there's absolutely no reason to do that. And that cost an extra base.
But Houston had his bat shattered. He can't score. Gaetti, and now if the Cubs ever add their 3rd run here in the 7th, Jose will have to come through. If you're scoring with us, Gaetti's play ruled a double and an error on the center fielder, allowing him to reach 3rd. But the big blow in the inning, Mark Grace hitting a 2-run homer that erases a 1-0 San Diego lead. And they'll walk Hernandez intentionally and take their chances with Kevin Tampany, who has struck out twice.
Now what you have to hope is that Kevin Brown throws another wild pitch during this Tampany at bat. But Tampany has been a run producer this year. He's driven in 10 of them.
And there is the 4th intentional pitch out of the zone. And let's take a peek, Stoney, at who's cleaning up in baseball, brought to you by Hoover.
It's ironic that Kevin Brown, the toughest to take out of the ballpark. Al Leiter's 2nd, Maddox 3rd, Glavine 4th, but it's been the home run ball tonight that has the Cubs on top.
Brown to Tampany, missing with ball 1. What a dramatic turnabout in this ball game. The Cubs get a Mark Grace 2-run homer to take a 2-1 lead. That ball hit foul, back out of play. One ball, 1 strike. Oh, for a base hit here. Tampany leaning out over that plate. The pitch. Line drive. Thank you very much, Kevin. Base hit. Scores Gaetti. Jose over to 3rd, and the Cubs lead it 3-1. Ask and ye shall receive. His 11th ribby.
RBI for Kevin Tampany. He just reached out, drove that ball into right center field. The Cubs have a 2-run lead. And they've come back and pounded away at Kevin Brown here in the 7th inning. It's Myers and Boehringer up in the pen. Kevin Tampany, a strikeout victim twice, just reaches out, takes it right by Kilvio Veras, and the Cubs have an insurance run.
So take that, Mets. 3-1. Still a ways to go in this one, however. Hernandez and Brown talk things over, as Lance Johnson will be the Cub hitter. He'll be the 8th man to bat here in the 7th inning. Brown has absolutely fallen apart in this inning. He struck out 9 men through 6. He had thrown just 79 pitches. But here in the 7th, he's given up 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 intentional walk. And the Cubs pitcher Kevin Tampany made him pay for pitching around Jose Hernandez. The Cubs 3 runs on 8 hits against Kevin Brown. who had given up only 10 runs in 64 innings coming into today's ball game.
Well, Lance is 2 for 3, and another base hit here gives the Cubs yet another insurance run.
It's kind of ironic in Brown's last start as Johnson skies that ball into left center field. That'll drop. That'll score Jose. Lance Johnson, 3 out of 4, and the Cubs have a 4-1 lead. Well, that's very reminiscent of Brown's last start, Stoney. He was perfect through 7. Then the Dodgers got him for 4 runs and beat him 4-3.
Well, you wonder how patient Bruce Bochy is going to be as the wheels have come off the cart for Kevin Brown. 5 hits in the inning. The Cubs have a 4-1 lead. And with left-handed Mickey Morandini up, let's see what Dave Stewart, on instructions from Bruce Bochy, want to do.
Well, Jeff Pentland has to be pleased with what he's been able to help Mark Grace accomplish this year. A new major league high for Grace in home runs, 17 of them. And now Stewart and Brown, boy, those are 2 men, Stoney, really cut out of the same mold, huh? There was no more fearsome-looking guy than Dave Stewart in his pitching days with that cap pulled down so tightly atop his head.
Well, he was a 20-game winner 4 years in a row with the Oakland Athletics. And he's moved down from the front office to the field to get a better look at this pitching staff. And he's had a good look at Kevin Brown, who has just fallen apart here in the Cub half of the 7th.
4 runs in. And a chance to add some more as Morandini takes the ball low. Brown now falling behind hitters.
He's right now at the 104 pitch mark. He was sailing right along, but he's hit a huge bump in the road.
This will be number 24 in the inning, and Mickey swings through it. 1-1. Sammy's waiting on deck. You know Brown doesn't want to face him.
Well, the Cubs have batted around, and it was Sammy who led things off, not with a home run, but with a single that seemed to wake up the Cub bat.
1 ball, 1 strike. Bouncing ball right side. Joyner will handle it. He'll step on the bag, and the inning is over. The Cubs, though, bat around and score 4 times. Mark Grace, a new career high. He hit his 17th home run of the year. And after 6.5, it's the Cubs 4, the Padres 1. Kevin Tapani now has a 4-1 lead. He's got Finley, Hernandez, and Gomez in the 7th inning. And he fires a quick strike. It's 0-1. Finley has grounded to both middle infielders in the game. Once to short, once to second.
No, they're going to call, I believe, they're going to call
a no pitch. A fan or somebody threw a baseball onto the field of play, and that really hurts the Cubs. Tapani got the first pitch over for a strike. No pitch.
Ed Rapuano says that time was called before the pitch.
So Finley, a new count. Swings the first ball, pops it up. I like things the way they turned out after all. Pop up to the shortstop. 1 pitch, 1 out. Well, what can you say about the pitching performance of Kevin Tapani tonight? As you see, Ken Griffey Jr. hit his 52nd home run. This matchup of 2 National League 18-game winners in Kevin Brown's ballpark. Tapani has been superb. Carlos Hernandez, the batter, has hit the ball hard twice. Once safely, once on a line to the third baseman, Gary Gaetti. A strike call. So Kevin Tapani for Cy Young. He's got a shot to win 20 ball games for the Cubs. But he's got to win this one first. Amazingly, Tapani, in the decade of the 90s, has just an unbelievable record. Tapani is 117-77 since the start of this decade as Hernandez grounds out. That's incredible. 40 games above 500.
He's had a very good run at it, and since putting on a Cub uniform, he's just 1-1 consistently. You know that he was very much up for this particular start, knowing that the Cub bullpen recently has been shellacked. He knew that he had to go deep into the game against a very tough pitcher, and he's done just that.
Here's Gomez, the shortstop, and he looks at a strike. Cubs fans, get out of the cold and into the fun in sunny Arizona as your Cubs get into gear in spring training. Visit beautiful Mesa, Arizona, and watch the Cubs at their new spring training home, Hohokam Park, with 12,500 great seats, including outfield lawn seating. For more information on spring training packages, call 1-800-283-MESA or visit www.cubspringtraining.com. 1-2.
Well, the Mets have split that doubleheader, and so if the Cubs do win here, they will take a half-game lead in the wild card.
1-2. The line, the pitch is outside. Well, I'm excited about spring training in 1999. I'll be Steve Stone's house guest for a month.
For enormous rates.
The pitch. Hit hard to the shortstop. Jose finds it and flips it across in time. Tapani nails the door shut in the 7th inning. That's what you like to see out of that veteran Bulldog. To the 8th we go. It's 4-1. Sammy Sosa looks to add to a Cubs lead. Look at that. Bambino and Sambino. Well, Mark McGwire hit 63 tonight in St. Louis. That was in game 1 of that doubleheader. Have not heard if he's gone yard in game 2. So Sammy goes to work. Ball low, 1-0.
Brian Boehringer at 5-2, ERA 4.29. He has given up 7 home runs in 71 innings. Kevin Brown had given up 70 in 236 coming in.
What a vicious cut. Oh, man.
Sammy keyed the rally last inning. He led it off with a single. Mark Grace with a 2-run homer. That gave the Cubs the lead. They added 2 more. They lead by 3, and they've out-hit the Padres 9-4 as Tapani out-pitched Kevin Brown in his home park.
That's just awesome. 1-1. Inside. Well, I would guess for Sammy, this is the old golf adage time. Grip it and rip it, baby. Give it your best hack here. Cubs have the lead. The line, the 2-1. He checked it. 3 balls and a strike.
And the fans here not very happy that Sammy has not had a pitch to hit in this at-bat. They haven't walked him yet. But you know he's squeezing the sawdust out of the bat looking for a fastball.
3-1. Oh, just foul. It's full now, 3-2.
Sammy looking at his bat to see if it's still intact. It is. And hit it on to Waveland Avenue.
That's great. 3-2. Swing, got him with a slider and a foul tip. And there's 1 man out. So Sammy's retired. He is 1 out of 4.
There's some high heat thrown right by him.
And many of the fans now, Stoney, start to head for home.
They've seen Sammy hit 4 times, and they've decided that it's time to head elsewhere. They think the Cubs will probably wrap this one up, and we hope that they're right.
Well, here's one of the big heroes tonight. Mark Grace finally proved that Kevin Brown's human. He got a 3-1 pitch, and he smacked it into the seats in right. It was his 17th home run of the year, and it turned around a 1-0 San Diego game into a 2-1 Cub game. Then 2 more runs followed.
And Mark Grace now with 85 driven in. And the last couple of weeks, he's had some huge RBIs for the Cubs.
2 balls, 1 strike. Grace hitting .318 on the year. That ball hit high in the air and out of play. Well, Cubs fans, if you missed your chance September 13th, there's still hope of bringing home a Gracie the Swan Beanie Baby. You can enter to win one of 100 of them by turning to your Chicago Tribune now until Sunday, September 20th for your chance to enter and win our Gracie the Swan Beanie Baby Day, brought to you by the Chicago Tribune.
Mark Grace's career high in runs batted in, 98 in 1993.
And he draws the one-out walk in the 8th inning. Well, Stoney, that's, I guess, one of the criticisms of Mark Grace is that he's never been a huge power producer. At this stage in his career, will he be able, you think, assuming he's back with the Cubs next year, and indications are that he will be, to sacrifice average for more power? Can he be a 20 home run guy for the Cubs at this age?
Well, 20, yes, because he's knocking at the door right now, but he's not going to be a 30 to 35 home run hitter. He's going to be a good average hitter, and he's going to drive in close to 100 runs. And I think that's what they expect of him in the middle. So with Brant Brown up, Cubs have a chance to add a few more runs. I think that Sammy has been very comfortable in a situation where, depending on who's pitching, Mark hits behind him or he hits behind Mark. And you factor this year Henry Rodriguez into the equation, and it has given the Cubs a very potent offense. They've come from behind many times and just plain outscored the opposition when the pitching staff didn't have it on a particular night.
No balls and a strike to Brown. And that misses inside 1-1. Well, it is a luxury, knowing you've got a guy that can hit 320 behind Sammy Sosa or hit in front of him to set the table, as you mentioned. There are those who would say Grace is an ideal number 2 hitter like a Tony Gwynn for this San Diego team.
I think it all depends on just exactly where you go next year as far as who you bring back. I mean, Henry's the guy who has a chance to leave. He's had a terrific year. Do you want to bring him back? And if you don't, then who will you bring back in the middle? And I think that will determine where Mark hits.
Springer misses again. 3 balls and a strike.
I'm pretty sure that Mark would like nothing better than to finish his career as a Chicago Cub, and I think that the Cubs probably feel the same way about Mark Grace.
Three and 1 to Brant Brown. Pinch hitting for Henry. He'll stay in the game and play left field, we presume. The pitch is cut on and lifted down the left field line toward the San Diego bullpen and out of play. It's 3-2. Boy, I'll never forget doing a game with the Braves here a couple years back. The Braves were playing defensively. The Padres hit a ball down the third base line into that left field bullpen, and Lonnie Smith went over and put his hands up. Meanwhile, the Padre base runner just circled the bases, and Lonnie kind of sheepishly turned around waiting for the double to be called. It's an inside the park home run, and there's ball 4 to Brant Brown. 2 on, 1 man out. That's one of the quirks here. If it's hit into the corners, the outfielders have to go get the baseball. I mean, it can be sitting under a chair that a relief pitcher is sitting on, and you still got to go in and grab it because everything is in play.
Well, all you have to do really is go in there and pick one of those out. So you just pick whichever one is closest, then you get it back into play, because unlike the Sammy Sosa baseball, they aren't marked when they're hit in there. So that's probably the best thing to do. And the bullpen is up and going as Boehringer has had some control problems. And Gary Gaetti wants to make him pay a price for it.
Gaetti with 349 career homers, 2,214 career hits. What a career this guy's had. 2 on, 1 man out. It's Gaetti against Boehringer, a chance to maybe put these guys away. Fouled off his foot. That doesn't feel particularly good, I wouldn't think. It's 0-2. Seattle beat Minnesota 12-7. Junior hit his 52nd home run for Seattle. Royals 6, Oakland 3 of final. White Sox fell at Detroit. Seth Grisinger beat the Pale Host 2-0. Yep, Tampa Bay 8, Anaheim 1. Jeff Juden lost.
Jeff doing what he has done in recent years, having a pretty good first half and then falling on hard times in the second half. Anaheim picked them up to hopefully put them over the top, but it hasn't worked out real well to this point.
Tim Wakefield won his 16th for Boston 9-4 over the Yankees. Cleveland beat Toronto 7-5. Chad Oj over Dave Stieb. And Texas beats Baltimore 6-5. National League scores. Houston beat the Mets 6-5 in game 1 of a doubleheader. The Mets were up big in game 2. Down at the Astrodome, 1-2 to Gaetti. Pittsburgh beat the Cardinals in game 1 of that doubleheader 8-6. Mark McGwire hit number 63 as a pinch hitter late. They're still battling in game 2 at Busch Stadium. 1-2. It's low, 2 balls, 2 strikes. 4-1, Cubs have the lead. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Mark Grace at second. Brant Brown is at first against Brian Boehringer, the former Yankee. The 2-2 struck him out. 2 away. And let's pause for station identification as Tyler Houston comes to calling in the 8th inning.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
Back at Qualcomm Stadium with my partner Steve Stone, Arnie Harris, and our entire crew. I'm Chip Carey, inviting you to stay tuned for the WGN News right after our ball game tonight. Dan Roan is here, and he will be hosting the sports segment live from Qualcomm Stadium. And now that's going to do it for Boehringer as Tyler Houston is announced. The Padres will go to their bullpen, and they will work a double switch. 4-1 is our score. We'll tell you about the new Padres when we come right back. It's 4-1 in favor of the Cubs. 2 on, 2 out here in the 8th inning. Let's see how the Cubs got the lead, Stoney, as we crack open our Ameritech playbook.
With Sammy Sosa on via the single, Mark Grace comes up, gets a 3-1 pitch out over the plate, and puts a charge into it. That's home run number 17. He's driven in 85. It gave the Cubs the lead 2-1. And that is your Ameritech playbook, the play that's made the difference. And Roberto Ramirez comes into this one. He's 1-0, 7.50 ERA. On for the 19th time, Greg Myers takes over behind the plate, and he'll hit in the number 9 spot in the flip-flop batting order for Bruce Bochy.
Which means he'll lead off the bottom half of this 8th inning. But the Cubs look to add a couple of runs here. 2 on, 2 out. The pitch to Tyler is right through there. Houston is 0 for 3 in the game. A 3-game hitting streak on the line, perhaps in this at-bat. The Cubs were down 1-0. Kilby O'Veras hit a home run for San Diego. Then the Cubs came storming back with 4 runs on 5 hits against Kevin Brown in the 7th. Brown pitched a terrific ball game. He struck out 9 Cubs before running out of gas. The Cubs letting Houston bat against a left-hander here in the 8th inning. And he strikes out on 3 pitches. No runs, no hits, 2 men left. To the bottom of the 8th inning we go. Myers, Veras, and Gwynn in a 4-1 Cub game. Greg Myers, the San Diego catcher, fouls the first pitch away from Kevin Tapani as he goes to battle here in the 8th inning. It is his ball game here tonight. 93 Tapani deliveries on the evening. What a game he's pitched. That changeup continues to be devastating.
And Brant Brown is taken over in left field. And normally when you keep the ball away from Myers, he's not going to do you too much damage.
The 0-2. They kept it away from him, and he hit it right off the end of the bat foul. Well, if this score stays the same, the Cubs would have a half-game lead in the wild card race, but they'd have a 1-game advantage in the loss column over New York. But a ways to go yet. We're in the San Diego 8th. The pitch. Good fastball that he missed with it. 1-2.
How about the year Kevin Millwood has put together?
Man.
Shut out Philadelphia 3-0, and Millwood has just been brilliant.
A little ground ball. Morandini will have time. The catcher running. He's retired. 1 away.
Stay away from Myers. He pulls that ground ball to the right side consistently. And a good play by Mickey.
And you're right about Millwood. He's only 16-8.
Good effort by Morandini up the middle. He knows he's got some time. And he makes the play. Now you have to watch the bunt with Veras. Even though he hit the home run last time, the Padres need base runners.
Doesn't show at that time and takes the ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 4-1 Cubs in the San Diego 8th. Big Cubs fans, Fred and B. Held, celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary Sunday in Sun City, Arizona. They're watching the ball game tonight. And they'll watch Veras ground out to the shortstop. 2 up, 2 down. Boy, Kevin Tapani getting stronger as the game gets longer. He's retired 7 in a row.
It's just been a wonderful night for Kevin Tapani. He's given Jim Riggleman and the Cubs exactly what they needed. A very strong performance against a good ball club and a #1 starter in Kevin Brown. Tapani bidding for his 3rd complete game.
A strike to Gwynn. Well, this is a big game for the Padres. Atlanta tonight. One number 97. Houston split a doubleheader. San Diego could fall further back in the race for the best record in the National League. Atlanta with 97 wins. Houston with 97. San Diego at 95 at the moment.
And they're getting Andy Ashby back. He'll start Friday.
1 hopper to Morandini. He handles that. He'll throw out Gwynn. And Tapani's retired 8 men in a row. On to the 9th. It's the Cubs 4, the Padres 1. We go to the 9th inning. You can always pick up a little insurance. A good time for that. It's 4-1 in favor of the Cubs. Jose Hernandez will stand in. He's 1 for 2. He hits a high drive into deep left center field, but playable for Steve Finley. 1 pitch, 1 man out. Don't forget, friends, spring training right around the corner. I imagine it. Hohoken Park. Sammy Sosa and perhaps the world champion Cubs. You never know. Spring training packages are available. Call 1-800-283-MESA or visit the website www.cubspringtraining.com.
He will be there to meet you with bells on. The weather always beautiful that time of year.
Or if not bells, bell bottoms. Here's Tapani. He's trying to win, Stoney, his 7th consecutive game.
And he helped himself with a base hit against a mighty tough right-hander. 11 runs batted in by Kevin Tapani.
Not too shabby at all. This guy, again, when you think about some of the guys who've been most successful in this decade, you think of Maddox, you think of Glavine, you think of Cone and Clemens. Not too many people would say that Kevin Tapani's won 118 games in the 90s. Well, he's 3 outs away from doing just that. And you certainly hope he's going to get some consideration, some votes for the National League's highest pitching honor. His ERA, I think, is going to be the big problem for him. It's well over 4.5. But tonight, he mastered Kevin Brown. And he's about to win his 19th game of the year. That ball popped out of play.
You had a look at Andy Ashby, who's missed a start. He'll come back Friday. It's really essential for the Padres to have a healthy Andy Ashby back. Had a problem with his side, and it's just now coming around. But he has not thrown the ball well lately. And that has to be cause for concern.
No question. He couldn't get out of the 5th inning in his last 5 starts for San Diego. But he's a terrific pitcher, and that man's a very good manager. The 2-2. And you have to be concerned if you're a Padre fan about the physical health of this team. Gwynn's not 100%. Ashby, as you mentioned, Ken Caminiti, with all of those aches and pains.
Wally Joyner has had assorted injuries this year, so it is an older team, and if they are going to make a run at it, it should be this year for them.
That ball hit a mile high. Behind the plate, Myers nearly stumbled over the headgear, but puts away Taffany for out number 2.
Yeah, if you're going to throw your mask away, you would certainly like to throw it away a little bit further away than he did, because he almost fell over it. What you do is try to locate the ball, and then you try to flip this one well out of the way. As it turned out, he still made the play.
Well, here's one of the unsung heroes of the night for the Cubs. Lance Johnson has a 3-for-4 game against Kevin Brown tonight. He did everything you hope for your leadoff man to do tonight. His average up to 264 on the season, and he looks at a strike from Ramirez.
And it looks like the shooter, Rod Beck, will start to throw in the pen, but you would think that Kevin Taffany would be allowed to at least start off the 9th inning and see just exactly what he can do.
How about Lance? How about Lance? He's got 4 hits. Now, if Mickey could get on, Sammy might get one more swing, and those folks who left early might start to kick themselves in the Padre parking lot.
Lance reaches down, and 4 straight singles driving this ball into right center field. So let's see if Mickey can keep it alive, looking for his first hit of the night.
Here's Mickey 0 for 4. His average finally dips below 300. He's at 298 on the campaign. Mickey needing 5 hits for 1,000 on the year.
Well, Mickey very happy to have his suitcase back with all of his clothes.
But we were kind of happy, too, to see that.
Well, it was sent back from another guest room with a note saying, here's your suitcase, and you have a couple tickets to the game.
And a couple signed balls with Sammy and Kerry Wood on. When it's 6 o'clock in the morning and you're out of skivvies, you'll do just about anything, too.
Sammy would love
suitcase back.
Sammy would love one more shot.
0-2 to Mickey. He'll have to keep the inning alive if that is to happen. 4-1, Cubs have the lead in the 9th. The pitch. It's pitch out. 1-2. The Cubs on their way perhaps to win number 85 on the year on the birthday of Cubs assistant coach Rick Kranitz. He's 40 today. 1-2. For just about everybody on this team is 40, crying out loud. Veteran ball club. So Cranny, happy birthday and many, many more. This is the kind of present our coach enjoys, and a manager too. A ball, 2 strikes. Lance, a big lead at first, not going. The delivery is fisted into the seats. Announced attendance tonight, 37,995. 37,995. Last night they had 60,000 fans in the ballpark. Not all of them paid attendance, but 60,000 nonetheless, and the crowd chanting, "We want Sosa." Upstairs, it might happen. 2-2 now. Two balls, 2 strikes. A lot of pressure on Morandini to give Sammy one more hack here. 3-2.
And the fans would love to see ball 4. And then the question is, do you go to the bullpen or do you leave in Ramirez? And if Ramirez doesn't get Morandini, I think that's his ticket out of the game. Come on, Mickey, keep it alive.
3-2. He did. He drew the walk. And listen to this place.
Here comes Bruce Bochy, and that will be Roberto Ramirez's swan song.
An inning plus. 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. The Padres will go to their pen and play the percentages. Righty against righty. Sammy Sosa will get his 5th at-bat in the ballgame right after this. It's not exactly Waveland Avenue, but it sure feels like it now. Sammy Sosa will stand in. As he does, we want to wish a happy 98th birthday to Irene Cotton watching the game. Hopefully Sammy can park one for her tonight.
And Scott Sanders might be the man that Sammy's been waiting for all night. He's 3-1, 4.23 ERA out for the 21st time. He's given up 4 home runs in 27 2/3 innings. There you look at an inflated ERA of 7.71 overall.
I got a feeling, I don't know why, but I got a feeling he's going to do something here. The pitch. Swung. What a cut he had.
I got a feeling he's going to do something too.
I hit a home run is what I'm talking about. 0-1.
Okay. Career against Sanders. Very good. And it's pretty inviting. 327 down the left field line. Only 370 to the power alley. Some days it looks like Sammy could almost bunt one that far.
Mark McGwire a moment ago was walked with the bases loaded in St. Louis, and the crowd here wasn't too happy about that. 0-1 in the 9th to Sammy. The stretch, the pitch. Slider 0-2.
The flashbulb still popping, so the folks still have a lot of film left in the cameras despite a very long night.
Well, they sell that stuff in 36 exposure rolls now.
Not 5 packs?
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. Every time I get my picture taken, the camera breaks. The stretch, the 0-2. Struck him out, looking. And the inning is over. Boy, they're pitching Sosa very, very tough in this series. Sammy 1 for 9 with a single and a run scored. But the Cubs are winning the game. That's what's most important. 4-1. We go to the bottom of the 9th. The Cubs have the lead. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Kevin Tampany is going to try to complete it. He has won 6 consecutive decisions. His last loss July 30th at Arizona. He has pitched maybe the most important game for the Cubs in the last 2 weeks. Greg Vaughn, the first man that greets him. It's a fly ball to left. Brant Brown misjudged it, dropped it, can't come up. Vaughn's aboard to open up the 9th inning. That was a funny-looking play.
That one not real well played by Brant Brown. Looks like he had a shot at it, but then the ball just trickled away from him, so it will go as a base hit. And the leadoff man aboard. That would have been a trap anyway, as Brant Brown had that ball go under the glove, and the shooter, Rod Beck, is ready to go.
Strike to Caminiti.
Padres with only 5 hits. The Cubs about hit them 10-5. They lead on the scoreboard 4-1.
Be careful with this man. He's 1 out of 3. He tried to stop it. He couldn't. 0-2. You'd love to get him, because Wally Joyner's on deck, and Tampany has absolutely mesmerized him throughout both of Joyner's and Tapani's careers. 0-2. 1 on, nobody out. Cubs 4, Padres 1. The pitch. It's 1-2. Don't forget the WGN News follows immediately after our ball game. Dan Roan will be in the Cubs locker room for reaction to Game 2 of the 4-game series in San Diego. It's always great to have Dan Roan along on the road. 1-2. Got him swinging. Good fastball. 1 down.
Still plenty left in the tank for Kevin Tapani. That was 92 miles an hour. That was probably the best fastball Kevin Tapani has thrown tonight. And he throws it right by Ken Caminiti.
So there's the first out in the 9th inning. And what you have to love about this so far, you don't have to worry about Trevor Hoffman, because he is the Terminator, folks. 1 on, 1 out for Joyner. Wally looks low. Joyner has struck out swinging. He's bounced back to the mound, and he's flied to left.
One more base runner, and it will bring the tying run to the plate. And Joyner can't run, so a ground ball is 2.
Kevin looking for his 3rd complete game. Misses outside, 2-0. He's thrown 109 pitches in the game.
Jim Riggleman looking over his matchups, and he probably wants to see the matchup of Rod Beck against Steve Finley.
Swung, lined out of play. It's 2-1.
And it's 429 with 3 home runs for Rod Beck against Steve Finley.
I don't like that particular matchup. How about you?
I don't think Jim Riggleman likes that particular matchup either. So that's why you would love to see a ground ball off the bat of Wally Joyner.
2-1. Vaughn a short lead. Swing. Boy, that changeup. Man, oh man, that's just his bread and butter. 2-2.
Joyner well out ahead of this one. Unable to read the velocity of that because Kevin has the same arm speed as he does on his fastball.
And that's the secret for Hoffman of the Padres. The 2-2. Low, 3-2. 4-1. Cubs have the lead. 1 on, 1 out. If Joyner reaches, it would be Finley, and then a decision for Jim Riggleman. Tapani has walked only 1 man tonight. The stretch, the 3-2. And Wally stays alive.
Well, he went to the fastball that time, and I'm thinking one more changeup will end this at bat. That's what he's used all night so successfully against Joyner. And he used the fastball to speed up his bat on the last pitch. Let's see if he tries to slow it down on this one.
Wally's hitting to 11 double plays. Number 12 would be nice. A soft fly ball, though, is out of play. Kevin still getting it up there at 91 miles an hour in the bottom of the 9th inning in San Diego. If you're just joining us, Sammy Sosa has not homered tonight. Mark Grace has a new career high for him. The Cubs chased Kevin Brown after a 4-run, 5-hit 7th inning. Again, the 3-2. Lined again out of play. The battle of 18-game winners, Stoney, tonight was everything we had hoped it would be. Especially since the Cubs are winning the ball game. But both men pitched exceedingly well tonight.
Mark Grace had the big home run against Kevin Brown, who was brilliant through 6, but gave up 4 in the 7th.
3-2. Line right field corner. That's trouble. Vaughn around second. He's on his way to third. Sammy chases it down in the corner. Vaughn's going to round third. He's going to score. Sammy missed the cutoff man, but Joyner cannot advance further. It's a double with 1 out, and it's a 4-2 game. RBI number 78 for Wally Joyner. And here comes Jim Riggleman. And it looks like he's going to go to the shooter.
As you see Wally Joyner taking it into the bullpen. It looks like he kind of conceded a double. He probably should have been standing at third base. So Manny Alexander will come in the game, as will Rod Beck. And the matchup of Beck and Finley does not favor Rod Beck.
But we'll see if this will be one of those other times. What a game from Kevin Tapani tonight. 8 innings and a third, 6 hits, a couple of runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, a home run. He is in line to win for the 7th straight time, for the 19th time this year. But Rod Beck will have to get a very, very tough hombre in Steve Finley when we come back after this. Well, a true professional gave it everything he had tonight, Kevin Tapani. And he gave the Cubs exactly what they needed to. A nice, long, crisp starting performance, and he goes straight to Rod Beck now.
Manny Alexander takes over at second base, and Rod Beck comes into this one for the 74th time. A 3-2 record. The last 2 appearances turned into wins for Beck. A 3-point ERA, 72 innings, looking for save number 47. And he has first base open, and you have to be careful with a guy that's really hurt him, Steve Finley.
First pitch, pop back toward us. And just out of reach. Oh, man. If I had the old fishnet, we would have had a shot. 0-1. You can put that atop my Christmas wish list.
Fishnet stockings or the fishnet?
Well, either one. Depends on the mood. 0-1 the count to Finley. Oh, man, you're trouble. The pitch. Bouncing ball toward short. Jose's got it. He'll glove. He'll crow hop. He'll throw to first, 2 down. That ball hit right on the button, though. Runner to third, now 2 down.
It looks like Mark Sweeney is going to come on to pinch hit. Finley hit this ball awfully hard, but Jose Hernandez, playing him up the middle, is right there to make the play. And Rod Beck and the Cubs just 1 out away from a half-game lead in the wild card race as the Mets split their doubleheader with the Astros.
And Beck 1 out away from his 47th save of the year. That's the most ever by a right-handed reliever for the Cubs. The Cubs' all-time record for saves in a year is 53, held by the Padres. Randy Myers now. Here's Sweeney. Beck off the windup. First pitch of beauty, 0-1. Sweeney against Beck lifetime, 1 for 3. He's 0 for 1 this year.
Kevin Tapani bidding for win number 19, and he was brilliant tonight.
This pitching matchup was scoreless through 5. Each man had thrown 60 pitches through 5 innings. It was a 0-0 game until Kilvio Veras scored first for San Diego. He hit a leadoff homer in the 6th. Then the Cubs scored 4 times in the 7th. And until San Diego scored here in the 9th, that's where the game stood. It's 4-2. Now San Diego down to its final strike. Let's see what the shooter comes up with on the 1-2. A breaking ball, 2-2.
That looked like one of those. Well, I'm going to show you this one, see if you'll swing at a terrible pitch before coming back with the old split finger that's been the bread and butter for Rod Beck.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The wind, here it comes. He got him, and the Cubs win. Say cheese, Mark Sweeney. Rod Beck nails it down for Kevin Tapani, who's won 7 straight decisions. He's a 19-game winner. Mark Grace had a career-high night. He hit his 17th home run as well. That turned a 1-0 Padre game into a 2-1 Cub lead. And the Cubs win it 4-2 to even the best-of-4 game series and a game apiece. 4-2, your final totals and highlights right after this.